Hey everyone, this is Cesar Pineda. I am the Farmers Insurance Agent in South Norwalk, Connecticut. Today I'm joined by my friend JP, who is a policy analyst and a self-admitted insurance noob. So we will be talking about average consumers' knowledge of insurance and how that could impact not knowing the right stuff. So welcome JP. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is JP. I work as a public policy consultant. I just moved back home, so I'm originally from the New York City tri-state area. I worked in Australia for a bit, and I worked in Florida. And yep, here I am now.
All right, well, welcome back. All right, so let's start with car insurance. What do you know about car insurance in general?
Well, I do know that there are different aspects. There's something called a CDW. There's something called full collision damage. I just don't know the structure of it though.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, I know that there are different aspects and layers of it, but not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who your current provider is? Right. And do you have full coverage right now?
I want to say yes, so I don't know.
That's something you should
yeah,
know.
I should. That is probably something I should know.
Okay. Do you know what liability coverage is? Have you heard of liability before?
Liability coverage. Let me think about this. I think liability coverage means if I injure somebody else or some other person's property, that the pool of money that would go into ameliorating that would be called my liability coverage.
You're basically spot on. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you're negligent for somebody else's injuries or property damage and you're liable, so now you have to pay for that. So that's great that you know what that is. And do you know what your current limits are for liability?
No, I don't.
Okay. So the reason why it's really important to know what your limits are is because that's the maximum amount of money that the insurance company that you have right now is going to pay. So if you happen to have the minimum state required in the state of Connecticut, your car insurance is only going to cover up to $25,000 for one person that you hit and it's your fault, up to $50,000 if there are multiple people that you hit and it's your fault, and up to $25,000 for property damage, so if you total someone else's car. So how do you feel about that? I mean, assuming, I don't know what you have right now, but assuming that's what you have right now, do you feel like that's enough?
I'm a pretty safe driver, so I want to say yes, but I also need to double check my policy. So
Right, one thing I'll say is that everyone is the safest driver in the world until they're not. So hopefully, that never happens. But
yeah.
All right. So it's important to know what you have for your liability limits. I can't emphasize that enough. That's one of the biggest things I do here when I meet with people. I compare what they have right now versus what they should have. We live in Fairfield County. There's a lot of nice cars. There's a lot of Mercedes, BMWs that are definitely worth more than $25,000 if you're responsible for a total loss. So please keep that in mind. Do you know what to do if you need to rent a car because of a loss you had through your insurance?
Would I buy my renter's insurance?
No. So if you have an accident and then your car's going to be in the shop for a few weeks,
right?
There is something called rental coverage. So have you ever heard of that before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So renter's insurance is what covers if you rent a place and it covers all your stuff, right? But rental insurance, rental coverage within your car insurance policy would help you rent a car while they're repairing your car, or even while you're shopping for a new car if it was a total loss. So it's something that you should really, again, be sure that you have it right now. And towing coverage, have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Okay. True or false? Is filing a tow, when you call in and you say I need to get a tow, do you think that's a claim or not?
From what I've heard from other people, a lot of people have called their insurers. So yes, that's my answer. Yeah.
Which is true or false?
True.
True or false? Yes.
True. Yeah. Right. True.
All right. So it is true. Filing a towing claim is still a claim, and that will stay on your record for 3 years, just like anything else. So just a claim is not a big deal. Obviously, you have the coverage there, so if you ever have to use it, please use it. But just keep in mind that plus other claims, then there's accumulation of claims, and that's where your insurance might be affected by that. All right. And how long does an at-fault car insurance stay on your record? Just double check.
3 years.
There you go. He's paying attention. All right. All right. So that was a nice little quick round of car insurance. What do you think you've learned so far?
I learned that what you just told me.
Yeah.
I learned that I should definitely read my policy.
Amen. All right. So now let's talk about homeowners insurance real quick. All right. So what do you know about homeowners insurance?
Nothing, because I don't really plan on buying a home yet, but I feel like
Oh, that was my next
I should
question.
know.
So are
Oh,
you
yeah.
planning to buy a house anytime
No,
soon?
no,
All right,
yeah.
Fair enough. But do you know, aside from the process of, getting a real estate agent, talking to a mortgage broker, maybe getting an attorney, do you know what else is required? And you probably could
No.
tell where I'm going with this.
No, what else is required?
Homeowners insurance.
Oh, homeowners.
All right?
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It is absolutely required for you to have homeowners insurance in order for you to close on a loan. It's something that a lot of people just overlook. They just get it as a checkbox that they filled out, but they don't pay attention to what they're getting. And buying a home is one of the biggest investments you could possibly make. All your savings and all your finances are tied to this home, so you want to make sure that if that house is burnt or there's a storm or anything tears it completely down, you want to have the right amount of coverage. So please pay attention to that. All right. So based on what you do know, what do you think that the main coverages for home insurance are? What does it cover?
So I don't know, but I'm gonna take a wild guess.
Say, go for it.
I want to say storm kind of coverage. I want to say fire protection. I want to say flood.
Yeah. But so let's say you had a fire. What will the policy actually cover?
I don't think it would cover the foundation. I think it would cover. I don't think it would cover belongings either. Am I right?
I mean, you have a
I
bad
don't.
policy.
I know. I don't.
If they don't cover the foundation or your stuff.
Okay, so I think it should.
Which
then.
is completely possible. So please make sure you have
I-
this stuff.
Let's see. In terms of what it covers, okay, so I feel like like a good insurance coverage would cover your belongings up to a certain limit, of course. I don't know what that limit is. It would cover loss of life. No.
It depends how you put that because so all right, going back real quick to car insurance, liability is something that applies to every everything really.
Yeah.
You could get sued for anything in this country.
Yeah.
So if you're liable for somebody else getting hurt in your property and they do pass away,
Right.
you do have liability coverage in these policies too. So to your point, yes, but really this is mostly talking about somebody fell and they broke a leg because maybe you forgot to clean a spill or something. They they slipped and all of a sudden they have a broken leg and they're saying it's your fault. So now you're negligent and now you're liable for it. So they will take you to court. All right. So real quick, some of the things that it actually covers your homeowners insurance is your property. So obviously roof, siding, all the structural components of your house.
Yeah.
Property is usually covered. Again, furniture, electronics, anything that belongs to you. And quick tip: this is what would cover you if, for example, your car got broken into and somebody stole your computer. That would not be covered by your car insurance. That would be covered by your homeowners or renters insurance if you have it. Another great reason to have renters insurance.
I did not know that.
Right. So aside from that, it does cover, as I mentioned, liability. Somebody falling, getting hurt, it being your fault. It covers medical payments, which in that same scenario would cover for that person's emergency room visit or ambulance fee. And it does cover loss of use, which is something not many people know about. But this is if your house caught on fire, right? What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna stay? You can't stay there. So we would actually help you pay for a hotel, to buy some clothes, just to be able to feed your family and just for everybody to be able to survive and be good, right?
That's
Aside from that, we do have some optional endorsements which are really good that I would recommend for everybody, like sewer backup and drain. If your pipe that goes from your house out to the sewer gets backed up and the water comes rushing inside your house and that explodes in your kitchen, you want to make sure that you have that. Usually flood is not covered by any insurance policy except for flood insurance. So that in that scenario, the water is coming from outside, that would not be covered unless you have sewer backup and drain. It's very important for you to know about that. And also things like service line, which would help you pay for excavation fees if you have to, excavate to get to the line, and plumbing repair, which would pay for the pipe itself. That's something that's usually not covered by insurance policies by default, something you have to put in there afterwards. All right. So those are just some quick endorsements. There's so much more about this. Things like jewelry, purse, silverware, guns. If you have really expensive stuff that you need covered for their full value, we have something called a floater, which is basically a mini policy attached to your policy, which will cover those things for 100% of their value anywhere in the world. So to do that, we usually go by an appraisal. We make sure that the piece of jewelry is covered for the right amount. It's really good to have that. And then lastly, just there's a ton of extra coverages like identity theft. If somebody steals your identity, we would actually help you pay for up to a certain amount for the cost that it takes you to get back to where you were, before this person messed up your credit, basically. Right? All right. So moving on from homeowners insurance, have you ever heard of an umbrella policy?
Yes.
Okay, tell me.
I think that means it's like some kind of like all-in-one kind of policy, if that makes sense. Like you have like car insurance, you've got home insurance, and it's just a general like thing that hence umbrella. It covers everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It covers specifically liability. So going back to you or your spouse hit somebody, and now that person has $100,000 of medical bills, or let's use a bigger number, which is realistic nowadays, right? I'm sure you know about this. Somebody's coming up to you and saying, I have $500,000 on medical bills. Your policy only covered $250,000 for that person. An umbrella gives you extra liability, usually for up to $1 million, $2 million, or up to $10 million of coverage. So if that ever goes beyond what you have in your policies for your home, for your cars, we also cover motorcycles, boats, anything like that. We would actually go beyond the policy limits for an additional $1 million or above. So something for you to keep in mind if you're a successful person like Justin is, you want to make sure you have the right amount of liability, because people are going to look at you as a target. And so if you don't have the right amount of liability, you could lose everything. All right, and lastly, what do you know about life insurance, and do you have life insurance yourself?
I think life insurance, I know that it's best to get it when you're young, but I still don't understand why.
Okay, so it's because logic dictates that if you're a young person, you're probably not going to pass away for a very long time, right? Life insurance is a company taking a chance on you not passing away until a very, very, very long time.
Right.
When you pass away, depending on what type of policy you get, you will get paid a certain amount of money, which is the death benefit. But one thing to keep in mind is, it's always cheaper for young people, but also they should get permanent life insurance, because there is temporary, which is called term life insurance, and then there is permanent, which will last you the rest of your life. For anybody who is like Justin in their like mid-20s, it is very, very, very helpful for you to just get this now once for the rest of your life, and then later on when you already have family, or you have things that you really worry about, and then you want to make sure that those things are protected if anything happens to you, such as your kids' school, like if they want to go to college, or for your spouse to be able to survive, really, because if you have two people in a household and you take away one person's income, that's basically half of the whole household's income going away in a second. Life insurance would help you stay on your feet, and it would help you just basically take care of your loved ones. That's why it's called life insurance. It's not for you, it's for those who are alive, right? But yeah, so back to your question, the younger you get it, the cheaper you get it, and I would recommend for anyone to try to get life insurance as young as possible, because it's really, really helpful. But yeah, I just want to thank you, Justin, for coming here today. I know this was kind of out of the blue, but it's very helpful because Justin, a lot of you don't really know what's in your insurance, and you should. And so today I am making an offer for anybody who wants to come by my office located at 11 North Main Street to come by for a full insurance review. One of the things that I do take pride on is that I will be honest. And if you have something that's better than what I could offer you, I will be straight with you, and I'll say, you know what, you're good. So again, thank you, JP.
Thank you for having me here.
All right, so until next time, guys.